This section looks at the whole area of third-person passive writing versus first-person active writing. And at the outset, we should stress that, if you like, traditionally, the third-person writing, the detached passive writing, has been the convention of academic writing. I suppose this is demonstrated by the following example. In first-person writing, we might say, "I did this by," whereas if we transformed that to third-person passive writing, we might say, "This was done by." And what's really happening there, I mean, the meaning is still the same, but we're detaching ourselves from it. And Cream and Lee talk about the disappearance of the writer. But they also point out the writer doesn't really disappear, they just become somewhat hidden. So perhaps a better term would be the camouflaging of the writer. They're saying the same thing, but they're saying it in different ways. And as I say, the important thing to remember, of course, is that the third-person writing is the default setting of academic writing. But we do have choices, just because it's kind of like the traditional way in which academic writing is undertaken. Increasingly, we do see evidence. In the last 20 or 30 years, I think it's become more commonplace for selective moving over into aspects of into aspects of first-person writing. But we need to think about the appropriateness of doing so, and I think the important thing to be thinking about is that we don't overdo it. I mean, there's nothing worse than reading a paragraph with about 12 or 13 I's in it. So we have choices. At the end of the day, we have choices. It's possible to convey our views, our expressions, our opinions without ever using the term, I think, or in my opinion, or whatever. It is possible to write everything in third person with a bit of practice. Alternatively, we might want to selectively make our work a little bit more engaging by introducing some first person elements. So that's what this section is all about. It's discussing the possibilities here.